Hi, Year 10. So this is just a quick video giving you feedback on the Kahoot quiz that you did last lesson. So what went well? As a group, almost 100% of you scored correctly on the giant structures questions. So you're really good at spotting the ones that are one big unit of atoms all bonded together. You also almost all got right element, compound, and mixture definitions. The definition that stumped you was the one of molecules. Molecules is tough because we always want to associate molecules with compounds and they get a bit mixed up. But molecule is just any small group of atoms. It doesn't matter if they're the same type and it's an element, or if they're different types and it's a compound. If they're a small little group, then they're a molecule. The next two I thought were the quite tricky ones, so I'm not surprised they're the ones that most students got wrong. And that is when you have a mixture, classifying what's in the mixture, so it's sort of like a double layer question, and formulas, because we haven't really covered formulas, so I'm going to go through that with you now. All right, small groups of atoms bonded together, there's your molecule one. So that was our worst question actually as a group. And I'm just showing you some examples of molecules here. You can see on the top, the one with 2 pink atoms, that's an element and a molecule. The one with 2 blue atoms is an element and a molecule. But you can also have these 3 where they're different colors. Those are compounds, but they still count as molecules because they're little groups of atoms bonded together. So all 5 of these would be classed as molecules. All right, the mixture questions. So this one said, which is a mixture of elements? Okay, the answer was B, and let's look at that a bit more closely. B is a mixture of elements because you have light blue and you have dark blue, different elements, but they're not bonded. Okay, so this is a mixture of 2 different elements. One of them happens to be an atom, the dark blue one, and one of them happens to be a molecule, because you have a little group of light blue, but they weren't asking about that in this question. They just wanted you to realize that they were different elements mixed together. The next one is a mixture of compounds. Okay, so now we got to find 2 different compounds not bonded. And the answer was G. Again, let's zoom in. We have compound number 1 is pink and yellow. You can see we have 2 molecules of that one. And then compound number 2 is 2 pink atoms and a blue atom. So it's a different compound, a different combination. And these 2 are not bonded, they're just mixed. We have the yellow and pink, which is compound number 1, and the blue with 2 pink atoms, compound number 2. So G is a mixture of 2 compounds. All right, formulas. So when you see a formula like this, CH2O, the letters are the symbols of the elements. Okay, so C is carbon, H is hydrogen, O is oxygen. You don't have to memorize any of those. You always have your periodic table. So just pull your periodic table out and use it when you need to look them up. The little subscripts, the numbers, go after the element, and they tell you how many atoms of that element there are. So we are looking for something with 1 carbon, so 1 of one element, 2 hydrogens, so 2 of another element, and 1 oxygen. And the answer is D. Let's zoom in on that. You can see we have 1 pink, that's probably the carbon, 2 blues, which must be the hydrogens, and 1 yellow. And there's your oxygen. This is the only option where you had a molecule that had 1 of one element, 2 of a second element, and 1 of a third. So it's the only one that could be CH2O. Next one, which could be H2O, a little simpler this time. Same exact logic, the answer is I, and you can see you have 1 pink atom, that must be the O, and 2 blues, which must be the 2 H's. Okay, so the little numbers, the subscripts, go after the symbol, and they tell you how many atoms of that element. All right, so that concludes the Kahoot. Hope that was helpful for you guys, and now you can move on to your next activity.